What's up, my arch fiends? Another Final Fantasy video segment, and this time we're going to be focused on the business segment of Final Fantasy. So we're going to be talking about Square Enix, mainly the greatest creative director of the franchise, Tetsuya Nourma. Now, this video is about a little bit of criticism, but also a little bit positivity. You know, Tetsuya Nourma is one of the best creative directors. I really thank him for the artwork for every single character. You know, I mean, the design after the artwork. Mono makes the actual artwork. Tetsuya Nourma incorporates the artwork into the CGI characters or the painting of the characters, such as, you know, the little icon in the classic Final Fantasy games, the painted icons of each character. You know, like when you see in Final Fantasy VII, where it's all the painted. Those are actually painted, you know, stuff. But that's the point. The point is, yes, Tetsuya Nourma makes a good creative director. He's very creative. The only little scrutiny I could possibly have with Tetsuya Nourma. And before you get mad and want to put me on a brain cross for my controversial opinions and my, you know, I should shut the fuck up because I'm so goddamn politically incorrect. But no. Is the problem I have is he has a hard time releasing games. If you remember Final Fantasy Versus 13, the one that became Final Fantasy 15, until Tabata took it over. Until Tabata took over the project so he can finish Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, Tetsuya Nourma's a perfectionist. And I like that he is. I like he loves his work a whole bunch. The only problem that can really happen is that people do want it to be released. Even if it does have some scrutiny and some stuff like that. Now, I will agree that Tabata kind of messed up 15 just a little bit, only with a short story, you know. And I understand he didn't want to make a huge trilogy, and you know what, he shouldn't make a huge trilogy. I think the game still did great irregardless of it. In fact, it was one of the best games sold of the year, irregardless of the short story during launch, irregardless. But the difference between Tetsuya Nourma's style and Tabata's style is Tabata wants to get things done, and he really doesn't want to put he doesn't want to put a trilogy behind his stuff. He wants his stuff to be what it is. And I can respect that. I can respect the man's decision to allow things to transpire like that, to make, you know, to not want to make a trilogy, because let's just be quite honest. I think Final Fantasy 13 would have been a little bit better, but at the same time, I'm still defensive, and I will still defend Final Fantasy 13 Saga until the day I died. Now, let's go back to talk about Versus 13, which that was Tetsuya Nourma's. Tetsuya Nourma did a really good job, even on the demo that released this, even though the demo is way no longer in, you know, use, you know. The stuff that Tetsuya Nourma used got put in the Final Fantasy 15, and it looks wonderful. But the only thing with Tetsuya Nourma is he's a perfectionist. He doesn't want to send his game out until he believes it is perfect. Like I said, there are situations where it's justified, and situations it's not justified. You know. Now the Kingdom Hearts 3, it's not justified because Kingdom Hearts games aren't that hard like Final Fantasy games to create. And you know what? And Kingdom Hearts 3 is a new entity. There's actually, you know, nothing that was before Kingdom Hearts 3. Nothing that came before. Such as Versus 13 became Final Fantasy 15. So you got to see the drastic changes and composite of both games. Now, yes, Final Fantasy 15 has used some of those composites, and you know what? It made the game even better than it was when it was Versus 13. You know. But the problem I have with Tetsuya Nourma is he has a hard time releasing games because he wants to be perfect, and that's fine and dandy. Now, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I understand completely because it's the Final Fantasy VII Remake. You don't want to fuck up the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The backlash would be immense. The fan outcry will be worse than any social justice warriors seeing bad things happen to female characters in video games. This will probably be, you know, it would probably make Gamergate look like kitty shit. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But nonetheless, it's a joke. It's a joke. Again, I tell jokes on here. It may not be the most politically correct, you know, happy-go-lucky jokes. It may be even dark jokes, but I tell we believe in we believe in dark jokes in the army of archfiends. After all, it's the army of archfiends. First of all, you know, dark is kind of our nature, but no, that's not the point. The point is, going back, Tetsuya Nourma will be facing a lot of backlash, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake would turn out really bad. So that's justified. Hey, take as much time as you want. If you need at least 2 more years, hey, I can wait. I'm not going anywhere. You know, where do you think I'm going? First of all, I don't even have a girlfriend right now, so, you know, I got nowhere to go besides work and home. Work and sitting on my ass and playing video games and being otaku. But no, seriously. I'm not going anywhere. Tetsuya Nourma can take as long as he wants for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. In fact, this is where being a perfectionist will come into play real good. But when it comes to it's a great area. This is all a great area. I think Tetsuya Nourma is a wonderful director when it comes to, you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake, because, you know, having that pushed back will actually be of a help. But when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3, I'd say his perfectionist idealist like mine could cost him some points. But he's a wonderful creative director nonetheless. I'm pretty sure, you know, if a game was completely released by him, I'm pretty sure this would be the best looking Final Fantasy game with best storyline, best character design, best everything, top tier everything, because he knows more about Final Fantasy. He knows a lot about Final Fantasy. He knows how to make Final Fantasy a great game. He knows how to make Final Fantasy great again. Go ahead, hashtag that. Make Final Fantasy great again. I bet he does. But when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3, I really think that, you know, it would be best if you just release that game now. I mean, at least, maybe not right now, but, you know, close to the end of the year, you know. Or better yet, for what Tetsuya Nourma could do is release the Kingdom Hearts 3 at the end of this year, and then the rest of the time work on a Final Fantasy VII Remake. We all be good. We all be happy that this game's going to be released. We'll be too busy on Kingdom Hearts 3 to worry about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So you can make the Final Fantasy VII Remake right after. And then, you know what, the year after that, if the Final Fantasy VII Remake, there we go. We'll have a perfect Final Fantasy VII Remake that resembles the original game while also keeping Final Fantasy 15 modernization, gameplay, and modernization, localization, which is really good. But the point I'm trying to say is that yes, Tetsuya Nourma is a wonderful creative director, but for a regular director, he can learn a little bit. Like, you know, go ahead and release what you got to show people what you got so far. You know, at least for anything, Tetsuya Nourma should at least release a demo of the Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy VII Remake. That would be totally awesome. That'd be, you know, shit. I only need the demo and I'll be happy. You know, it'd make me just happy to have the demo of those 2 games. But he's a wonderful creative director. You know, I'm gonna give him his credit for what he does do right. The credit he doesn't do right is he's a perfectionist, which could make the games take a little bit longer, take a long time to make. And, you know, I understand. He wants these games to be iconic and memorable. But you know what? Even though Tabata made a few mistakes on Final Fantasy 15, which originally was his property, it still turned out a good game, irregardless of the perfections. People play Final Fantasy 15 even now. We're in the month of January. Let's see, it came out November. There, you know, after Thanksgiving time, December, January, and people are gonna still be playing Final Fantasy 15 in February, and possibly March, April, May. This whole year has been nothing but Final Fantasy 15. Even though Tabata shortened the game and put the stuff in later, what Tetsuya Nourma needs to really think about is that even though this is a shorter game and people complain about it during the launch without the new game plus, you know, it's still made bank. It's still made bank, baby. It's still made bank, you know. It still was one of the most defining Final Fantasy games of all time. If anything, if in my top 5, in my top, this compares to Final Fantasy 7. This is on the same level as Final Fantasy 7. And know that it sold so many units. Even though there was a little bit of imperfection, so if Mr. Tetsuya Nourma, you know, if you ever watch my videos, I doubt you do because I don't have that much subscribers, but if you do, Mr. Tetsuya Nourma, it's okay if your games have a little bit of imperfections. It's okay, because you know why? Final Fantasy 15 had some big minor flaws, but it still was the best selling game ever. If Kingdom Hearts has a little bit of minor imperfections, it's still going to be sold like hotcakes. It's going to be still sold, you know, right hot off the press. So no need to worry about being a perfectionist, you know. Just keep working on the games, keep doing what you do. Hopefully we'll see Kingdom Hearts 3 at the end of this year, and then the next year Final Fantasy 7 remake. And I gotta say, you're a good creative director. I love your creations at all. You just gotta release those games, man. You just gotta release some games, man. You gotta at least put a date on those games, man. That just increase, you know, more business decisions. Now that's all I gotta say about Tetsuya Nourma. Best creative director. Just needs to release his creations to the world so people like me can appreciate it. And now I'm running a little bit over time, so may the crystal be with you, my arch fiends. And please like and subscribe, and tell me what you know, what you think. Should Tetsuya Nourma go ahead and release the games that he's created, or should he wait for some more? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all that good stuff for me. That really helps me out.